Oh, hello. Shall we? Hey, well, time for another week in review. The weather in Western New York is really up and down. Yesterday it was in the 50s. And it's nice when you get days like that because it just kind of reminds you that the long cold winter's almost over and we'll probably get one more snowstorm, probably in the middle of March. But it's almost over and you're going to be able to get outside and start doing things again. The sun is staying out longer. For a while, at least up north, you get up in the dark and by the time you get home from work, it's dark. So, it's just pushing through that. It's good though for reading and I get cabin fever. I think a lot of people get this time of year where you just get a little kooky and the air's stale in the house and you just want to get out and do stuff. So, I've watched stuff on Netflix and I was watching something the other day and I was thinking about how binge watching has changed how we talk about shows with each other. I know in years past, if you watched a show and the next day, not that I ever hung around a water cooler, but it's like water cooler talk or your buddies, you'd be able to talk about it because you could only talk about that week because that's when it came out. I guess Walking Dead, you still kind of have that, but a lot of these shows people watch, and I know I do. I watch them on Binge, on Netflix or Hulu or whatever you use, or you DVR shows and you watch them over again. I was thinking about because I watched two X-Files in a row this week that I had recorded. And it got me to thinking about it, how I think that's lost now. I don't know that, you can't talk because you don't know what stage in watching. If there's like, say they watch Stranger Things and you don't know, are you on episode 4 or 8? You don't know where to talk to each other because you don't want to spoil something for somebody. So it just, it's not good or bad. I guess it's just something that happens, and it got me thinking about that's kind of lost, and I don't know that that's ever going to come back again with the way things are now. I am seriously thinking of getting rid of my cable service. They announced this week that I think by the end of the month you're going to have a box on every TV, and they'll be happy to give you one for, I don't know, it's like $6 to $10 each. So I don't really watch that much, and it's just my wife and I at home now most of the time. So I think now's the time. But just something I thought of, nothing big. As far as pickups this week, I really didn't pick anything up. I don't know if you saw the video I did earlier in the week with my friend Mike. Got a large shipment of CGC books in. I did have a couple in there. I thought it would be fun to show off the stuff that Mike gets when he's out going to 20-some cons that he goes to. But I did get two wonderful things back. They were 9.4s that I cracked open and pressed. The Amazing Spider-Man 300, so I got two 9.8s, which is great. That's going to go a long way to helping me build up a war chest to go after some of the bigger Silver Age books that I've always wanted. I think sometimes whenever you kind of put it out of your mind, you think, oh, maybe if I'm at a garage sale someday and I come across some great book, but those things are pretty rare. They really don't happen that often. So you really got to kind of buckle down, I guess, and make money or sell things or whatever to get into where you can get some of those bigger books. So, that's really all I got this week, and I think I have 5 things in my queue right now on eBay that I'm watching. One thing that started last night that I'm kind of excited about, even just watching, ETA Nick always does a recap of Comic Link auctions. It started last night at 8, so I think it's 19 days, I think he said, and I checked it sometime in March it ends, but I was just, before I went to sleep last night, I checked a couple key books, like I looked at Fantastic Four 1 or Amazing Fantasy, and some of these books were $15,000, $16,000 within the first hour, and it's funny to me because the auctions on there, I don't know if people are trying to put their flag in the ground and try to ward off other people from bidding, but it seems to me that it's just that last 2-3 minutes is when you should be bidding, but who knows, maybe they just want to put their bid out there and see if they win, put their top bid out and hope it makes it. But it's just fun to watch. There's so much stuff in there, Silver Age stuff especially. I think there's 2 Action Comic ones in there. I want to say one of them's a 7.0, so that's amazing. I can't wait to see what that sells for. it's just exciting, I guess, to look at these auctions. I think it would be great if somebody offered a live auction where they had the guy with the gavel and the whole thing, and it wasn't days or weeks long. It was like an hour, and they gave 5 minutes for some of these big books to see. Because to watch that action, I think would be really fun. But I don't know, probably wouldn't fetch as much money, so that's probably why I don't do it, for entertainment value. But I guess that just leads me into my sermon for the week, and it's kind of a little bit of a recurring theme, and Reaper Tate talked about it in his video last night, and the sermon for today is reflection. Really self-check at what you're doing and what you're buying and how you're collecting, and are you enjoying it more now than you did before? I know for me, I was starting to feel this lag, and it almost started to feel like work, and I don't think you need to collect all this stuff. And the first thing that I thought of was my 2018 list, and I'm going to show this now. I know Anthony said he isn't going to show it. I'm going to show mine. I still want All-Star Western 10. I'm cooling on Amazing Spider-Man 102. I like it. I'm not going to overpay for it. If I see it at a con at a decent price, I'll grab it. I do want Justice League 19. I still love that cover. And obviously, Avengers 4 is one of my personal Grail books that I want to get. And then there are a few others, but it's a big question mark. I'm not going to reveal those, I guess. I think it'll be more fun if you see, at the end when I get them, because I'm going to get them. This is the year. Going to make it happen. But I think about that list, and I guess I should point out the ones that came off. Miss Marvel #1, Marvel Premiere #1. I like both of those books. I remember them, and I was chasing the Miss Marvel run, and I have all but that one in 18. Same thing with Marvel Premiere. I think #1's the only one I need, but it's I think the easiest way for me to think or explain how I'm feeling about it is when I was a kid, I can remember, you eat pickles, say, and I would eat 1 or 2 with a lunch or something like that. And I remember thinking one time, when I'm big and I have my own job, I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to get a whole jar of pickles and I'm going to eat the whole thing. Well, I recalled that when I was like in my 20s and I was working at a company called Kodak, and I laughed to myself because I'm thinking, I can't imagine sitting down and eating a whole jar of pickles or even wanting to, but I wanted to. And another one was candy bars. I can remember my grandma would give me, a candy bar, and back then they didn't give you those horrible little fun size. They were a nice size candy bar. And I remember thinking, you know what? I'm going to get a whole bag of Milky Ways when I get my real job when I'm a big guy, and I don't even like chocolate now. So it's just, that kind of a thing and that mindset is what I've applied to my comic collecting, because, where you started, even if it was 2 months ago or 20 years ago, isn't where you are now. I mean, you've changed as a person, you've changed in your collecting habits, stuff that you found cool when you were 12 and 13, you may not think of cool when you're in your 50s or 40s or 30s, however old you are. So I think take some time and just think about what you really enjoy. And I think the easiest way to do is hold the stuff in your hands and look at it. Do you feel that pull still? Do you still feel that happiness when you look at that book or you read it or whatever? I know a couple weeks back I talked about let your books out to play. I've been doing that a lot lately, and it's really increased my enjoyment of what I do have and what I'm going to keep. And then it also lets me know this isn't so good. I don't like this artwork so much anymore, or as much as I used to. I was a huge George Perez fan, and I still like his artwork a lot, but I don't like it as much as I used to. And I don't know if it's because when I was a kid I found that artwork more appealing, but the costume designs and stuff like that, when you're a kid you like the super bright and ostentatious stuff. I don't so much now, and I think it's why I've been drawn towards monster books and stuff like the Phantom Stranger, things like that. You change. So as you change, really look at your collection and change. And the other part of this, when you do reflect and you maybe let go of stuff that you don't want anymore, you're releasing it back into the wild. When you fish, you catch and release unless you're going to eat it, as far as I'm concerned. I feel the same way about comic books. So let this stuff go, because there might be someone out there that I said Miss Marvel 1, I don't want it. Maybe that's their Grail book. Maybe they have awesome Silver Age or Golden Age books, but for whatever reason, they always wanted that book. And that's great. If I had it and I released it and someone got it, that's awesome to me. I would love that to happen. I think that's really, really cool. So take it for what it's worth. That's just my thoughts on that. So reflection. Take some time and reflect. Anyway, I guess the next thing would be homework. I got a homework assignment. It's kind of related. Go back and find a comic book or a story arc or a collected trade. That's how I like to read the story arcs, because it jumps across it's different titles. And one that maybe is a little bit older. I would say it's got to be at least 10 years old. Or if you've only been collecting for 2 years, go back and read something in the beginning. But I did it, and I reread the Project Pegasus. I remember reading this when it came out in Marvel 2-in-1. Great artwork in it. It was a combination of John Byrne and George Perez. So that's that. And there's John Byrne on the back. To me, when I read this, it just hit on every single cylinder. Black Goliath, kind of cool. Of course, there's a Deathlock in here, but it's really not Deathlock. It's a robot, and here he is. He's lurking around the corner. The giveaway, though, is he's got 2 robot eyes, so it's really not Luther Manning anymore. But I just remember reading these and just how much I enjoyed this storyline. So I reread this, and it holds up, and that's what I was for the homework. Reread something, a story arc that you really like. Does it still hold up? Do you find that you enjoyed it as much as you did when you first read it? Or is it just silly to you? I know I did this about a month ago. I reread the Avengers Defenders War because I was trying to get those books in the floppies, because I don't have all of them, or a couple I have that really, really beat up. And that story does not hold up, for at least to me. It's silly and contrived, and it seemed like it was written for a 10, 12-year-old kid. So, and it had that feeling. The artwork is still awesome. It's still fun. Those covers are great. That Thor Hulk cover, I think it's Defenders 10, is still one of my favorite Bronze Age covers. But go ahead and do that. I think you'll find it's fun, and that maybe will help you along the way. Think about what you're doing, what you're collecting, and it may get you into saying, you know what, I don't want this stuff anymore, letting it go. Or it might go the other way. You might say, you know what, I really love this. I want to get all of these things. I know there are collectors out there that are huge completionists, and that's great, because if that's your joy, and I remember when I was collecting as a completist, just getting that final volume of something, and it's like, it's done. I know there's a lot of you guys out there that are like that, and that's great. I'm not trying to tell people how they need to collect. I'm just saying, think about it. Give it some thought, because if you're not enjoying the hobby as much as you used to, that might be why. At least it was for me. And again, I'm just amazed at coming into this community and what it's done for my collecting and how much more I enjoy stuff. So give that a shot. And the last thing is recommendations. I can say X-Files is a thumbs up. It has its flaws. There's some stuff about it I don't like, but overall, it's really good television right now. I enjoyed the last couple episodes. It had the old feel back to it. I don't know. I don't pay attention to the credits, so maybe it's got a different showrunner, because I know that first one was jarring, and I almost stopped watching because it was just like a car commercial-y kind of feel, and that was bright and flashy, and it didn't feel X-Files-ish at all. And these new ones do, and I think it looks like they're tying things up, so let's hope. I think there's 4 episodes left. I don't know. I think there's 10 or 12, so there's 6 done so far I've watched, and they're good. But I'd say if you haven't watched it, or if it's on your DVR, give it a shot. I liked it a lot. I still, I'm going to finish it, and I'm happy that I stuck with it. But I guess that's all I got for you this week. I do have more CGC stuff coming in Tuesday. I think the shipments due in. I was hoping Saturday, but it's not going to be here Tuesday. I don't think I have that many. I might only have 2 books in there, maybe 3. And then I have like 20 books altogether coming back, so they'll be spread out over the weeks. And I've gone through my stuff that I'm going to sell, and I have probably another 20 that I'm going to submit. So by summertime, I should have probably close to 50 slabs that I'm going to be selling. The goal is to sell all that stuff and whenever I go to the cons this summer. There's a big one towards Cleveland. There's a big one down in Charlotte in the summer. I'm going to go to both of those and try to grab and land really big books I've always wanted. So you all will be along for the ride. I'm going to definitely get video footage of that if I do those. But that's all I got for you this week. So keep reading, keep reflecting.